Nucleus finances started from that very premise. Nucleus finances, it's atomic. It started from the foundation of definition. And from that, we feel that we can go after a $50 trillion financial contract industry.
When you're reporting to a public, either the markets or entities, you want to be able to, again, align with some level of a permissionless or a public chain where you can commit your proofs into those. So permission chain are here to stay. A significant adoption by the enterprises in the market. No one is talking about it, but they are doing it. We can see that in the markets. There are other public technologies, including Casper Technologies, which is a really interesting model and well-constructed network. So these are some of the public chains that we work with.
What is up, guys? Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. Hope everyone's doing well. In today's video, we're going to dive into the Casper price chart and a bunch of recent news. We're going to start things off looking at the Casper price chart side by side with other assets that have already done an impulse from their recent cycle low. So as we know, there are leaders and laggards in this market, and here are a few examples of different assets on the weekly time frame wicking past their weekly pivot to their R1 and R2 levels. First up, we have Injective doing over a 780% move from its low all the way up to the weekly R2. Please note that when Injective took off, it hit its weekly pivot with weekly candle body closures, rejected it initially before getting that next impulse. We had Fetch AI doing a 10x from its cycle low all the way up just below the weekly R2. We've also had the XRP price chart thus far wicking all the way up to the weekly R2. And one more example would be XDC from its cycle low wicking all the way up to the weekly R1. Now we have the Algo price chart sitting at its lows, we have the HBAR price chart also sitting near the lows, and we have the Casper price chart also sitting near the lows. Notice the Casper price chart came up to the weekly pivot perfectly but rejected that level. And just note that Injective also rejected that level initially before finally getting that buy volume. So here on the left hand side we have the XDC price chart and we have Casper on the right hand side. We can see XDC from this cycle low, wick to wick, has impulsed over 390%. We got this initial wave, correction, and then the big impulse. And for Casper thus far, we've got this first impulse and a correction. We are potentially looking for a big impulse here. Looking at the oscillators and comparing the RSI and the stochastic, I do have my alerts set for this middle line for both. So we have XDC on the left reaching the R1. We have XRP wicking to the weekly R2. We have Fetch wicking over the R1 doing over a 1000% move. And also Injective over a 700% increase, almost 800% all the way up to the weekly R2. But what's really interesting about the XDC price chart is, as we can see this previous high right here in 2018, we're just going to plot a horizontal ray, and we can see this crash actually during this cycle of the bear market, crashing about 90%, actually wicked perfectly right on that previous high. So this is a pretty clean chart, even going to the weekly candle bodies up to the weekly candle bodies from low to high. XDC has done over a 400x return. And XDC has been around for over 5 years. It has also experienced a full bull run. We have our buddy Casper that has never experienced a full bull run, and it was born at the beginning of the bear market. And just a quick reminder, looking at the Casper price chart in this bear market, I know some assets have done a 3, 5, or 10x from their cycle low, but there's others like Algo sitting at an all-time low price. So you could argue, yes, the bull run or retracement has begun for some assets, but for the most part, we haven't drawn large waves yet. If you think Bitcoin's going down, then you can look at support levels for Casper at 3.3 or 3 cents even. And Bitcoin's been running sideways and falling down a bit for over 40 days. I'm just waiting for a move for Bitcoin on the big picture to go to 35k to 42k, as we've done for the last 10 years for 3 cycles in a row. If Casper simply follows the moves of a variety of assets that have already hit their weekly R1 and R2, in this video I showed you XDC, XRP, Injective, and Fetch. The R1 for Casper is just below 11 cents and the R2 is just over 13 cents. We have an open weekly fair value gap that is yet to be tested. I believe this is going to be like a magnet for price action, sucking that liquidity when proper volume comes. And just to take a look at Casper, we can see from its previous all-time high price all the way up until present day, it has been over 800 days. We can see the Cardano or ADA price chart from its previous all-time high back in 2017, 2018, all the way over. It took over 1100 days for it to create a new all-time high price. And during this time, the Cardano price chart did in fact crash 98%, almost 99%. During this period, on crypto Twitter, everybody called Cardano a scam, but they were building. And it still did over 160x from its all-time low price without enterprise adoption at scale and true utility. This is for the most part retail and just a Bitcoin cycle. And Cardano hit a $99 billion market cap, an all-time high at $3.10 with a $32 billion circulating supply. And just to put this into perspective for Casper's potential with a crazy hype cycle or enterprise adoption, which we have never seen in crypto, the enterprise market is the largest market in the world and the least penetrated when it comes to blockchain. If Casper reached a market cap in the future that Cardano and Solana, two L1s, have already done, between $75 billion to a $99 billion market cap today, the Casper price would be between $6.68 to $8.80. So even from current price up to the Solana all-time high market cap over 160x, and to Cardano's all-time high market cap over 220x. But once again, this isn't financial advice. I just wanted to give you two examples of two actual assets that are layer ones or contenders to Casper that have reached this crazy high valuation. Before the crypto asset class and a variety of these assets even have regulatory clarity and enterprise applications being used on a daily basis. And it's fine if you think that's too wishy-washy, and we can be more conservative and just look at the weekly price chart right here and just look at obvious levels, the R1, R2, and R3. We have open liquidity gaps at 43 cents and weekly candle bodies at 60 cents. Although price action has been boring, I am seeing everything I want to see in terms of developments for a layer 1. We've had organizations like Sarson Fund say yes, they believe Casper can reach $1. I do too, especially with success, but it will take time. Casper, unlike other L1s, including Hedera, they're building their own virtual machine from the ground up. They're building all these kits from scratch. It's a lot more work instead of just leveraging the Ethereum virtual machine. But in saying that, when they get this set up properly, there's a lot more upside. And Casper Network as a whole, even shared by that guy from IBM in the beginning of this video, they have amazing account features and account permissioning. They have modular architecture. Everything is customizable. It can be mutable or immutable. It's extremely flexible with hybrid public and private deployments. And when comparing ADA hitting that $99 billion market cap with a 32 billion circulating supply, there are people that complain about Casper's circulating supply or inflation rate, and if you just plot out the numbers, Casper will not have that circulating supply for 13 years. So if you believe HBAR can hit $1, if you believe Cardano can hit $1, both of them have circulating supplies over 32 billion. Casper will not have that circulating supply for 13 years from today. As Casper Labs CEO expects the Casper network to be at full capacity between 2027 to 2030. And I don't know about you, but I believe there's going to be a large bull run well before 2027. A great website you can check out is scansper.com. Of course, you can come down to statistics, you can click the rich list and get a little more information. We're not even listed on Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, a lot of these large exchanges, and Casper is presented side by side with Kraken at Davos. I think Casper Labs is playing it very smart, working in the US, and they're already working on that payroll solution that we've talked about in the past with Advasa. And with this clip in the beginning of the CEO of Nucleus Finance highlighting Casper in a $50 trillion financial contract industry, with Actis, this covers 98% of all financial contracts. And looking at nucleusfinance.com, we have Actis and we have Casper right there. Nucleus Finance is built on Casper. And notice right here, Nucleus Finance is chain agnostic, so it can use any protocol and utilizes the chain most suited for the occasion. If you were paying attention in the Casper Telegram chat, you'd notice that the CEO of Casper said that nobody's ever asked for another protocol to use besides Casper, and they might actually even remove the agnostic feature. And if you're tokenizing these financial contracts and want visibility into your cash flow to present all these bank failures that we've seen even in 2023 alone, the Casper network is by far the best option. More than Hedera, more than Cardano, more than any other L1. And notice this clip was taken at the SALT conference in New York. And the SALT conference is inspired by Skybridge Capital and Anthony Scaramucci, a $3.5 billion fund. And they're working with Casper in tandem with Al Mascari Holding, which is related to the royal family in Abu Dhabi. So Skybridge specifically is going to be working on getting Casper into the Rolodex of these Fortune 500 companies and really get their foot in Wall Street. And as we saw, the CEO of Casper Labs just the other day uploaded on YouTube, had an interview broadcasted from the New York Stock Exchange. Now we publicly know that Casper Labs has 45 to 50 NDAs with large Fortune 500 companies. Anthony Scaramucci of Skybridge, I'm excited to see Casper further penetrate the Fortune 2000, where he can be a significant ally. If Casper can secure relationships with even 50 of these firms, it will become the industry standard. And in terms of some impressive connections, so we have Casper right here with Hyperledger and IBM. So Hyperledger was founded back in 2015 by the Linux Foundation. The Linux Foundation is governed by a steering committee with companies such as IBM, Intel, and SAP. And Casper Labs is a partner of both the Linux Foundation as well as Hyperledger Foundation alongside some very large organizations. Between Red Hat, Meta, Microsoft, Huawei, Intel, Cisco, Google, Accenture, Uber, Toyota, Toshiba, etc. Now, Hyperledger's most popular blockchain product or framework is Hyperledger Fabric. So although it's open source, it's actually a permissioned blockchain framework. This offers unique identity management and access control features which make it very suitable for a variety of industry applications. So for track and trace of supply chains, royalties, etc., and we can see Fabric right here being used by Walmart for tracking foods. In the beginning of this video, we shared the IBM gentleman right there talking about permission chains and being used by enterprises, but they're still going to connect to a public chain for certain use cases and submit proofs for better transparency. Enter some large L1 enterprise chains just like Casper Network or the Hedera Hashgraph. So the big weakness of Hyperledger Fabric is it's based on a private network. It's permissioned. It can be controlled from a central point. And the consensus algorithm will never be as secure as on a public blockchain. And of course, every type of blockchain framework in deployment has its own trade-offs between the list right here. But here's an example of Casper Labs with an IBM presentation connecting to the Hyperledger Fabric, and they're trading a tokenized bond from Fabric to Casper Network via an atomic swap, showing interoperability between Hyperledger Fabric and Casper. And IBM is a huge player not just within the Linux Foundation on the steering group committee, but also on Hyperledger Foundation where Casper is a member. And I'm still waiting for the largest enterprise deployment in history to begin on Casper on the public chain, initially $7 to $10 billion coming on top of the public network. And that's why on scansper.com, as you come up here, IPW and Casper Labs, you can click follow, and we can keep tabs on when the actual deployments of the 25 million patents are tokenized on top of Casper. So notice we've had 145, I believe this was a test because this was on the other contract type or the NFT standard, CEP47. Last I checked, we're actually going to be using the CEP78 standard, which is the newest standard. So I'm going to keep tabs on this page when it actually updates and when we can actually see on the Casper Block Explorer on the public network when the billions of dollars of patents are being tokenized on Casper's public network. In looking at IPW, analyzing portfolios in different lights, so these are intellectual property portfolios. We can see global companies with billions of dollars in intellectual property. And remember that Nike is one of the companies that is actually tokenizing their patents on top of Casper's public network. And we have right here shared by Dagnum a video clip of the Casper Association presenting Casper to enterprise clients. You can see side by side first generation blockchains. Casper Network can scale without sacrifice, low risk and easy to use, sustainable cost and predictable fees, and future proof with upgradable infrastructure. We have Crypto Lupo right here, energy efficient Casper Network versus Ethereum 2.0 versus Cardano. Casper consumes 100 times less energy than Ethereum 2.0 and 350 times less energy than Cardano. Now this was the interview I uploaded the other day on my YouTube channel, and the CEO of Casper Labs in that interview had some amazing analogies related to Red Hat and what it did for Linux. Red Hat was the first company to commercialize Linux and actually make it a multi-billion-dollar business opportunity. So similar to cloud computing, similar to the early internet era, the CEO said a decade from now you will be using blockchain technology and you won't even know it. And I believe Casper Labs for enterprises will be that company, if not one of the companies to do this. For enterprise and government blockchain adoption. This was an amazing article by Casper Labs augmenting AI with blockchain. And these two technologies are likely going to be very complementary. Blockchain has the ability to radically increase visibility into AI and ensure fair operation. Integrating blockchain with AI is the most effective way to ensure data integrity and transparency within these AI models. And from Casper Community today, the foundation of the first AI project to be built on Casper has begun. This is Casper AI or CSPR.ai. And on CSPR.live, you can come up to Casper products in the top left and keep an eye on new products. As we've shared, there's about 30 million developers worldwide and really only tens of thousands in Web3 in the crypto asset class. You can pick the language that maps to the skills of your team. There's no new tools that are needed to get started, 24/7 monitoring, and enterprise-grade support. And for enterprises and governments that are working with Casper today, they have a phone number, they have contacts, they have people to help them. With Ethereum, you don't have that. We have an amazing thread from Tokenizer highlighting a variety of assets and IBM collaborating with Quant, XLM, Casper, and HBAR. Highlighting Casper, as we know, Casper joined IBM's Global Partner Program back in, I believe, 2021. And by leveraging the hybrid custom permission settings of Casper, they built a system to connect and swap assets. The solution uses Hyperledger Weaver as the interoperability tool. And IBM Weaver works within the SATP frameworks. This is Secure Asset Transfer Protocol. And this has enabled them to build the foundation of cross-permission applications like IPW for the tokenization of intellectual property. We have the COO at Casper Network sharing the billions of dollars that have disappeared from the crypto asset class from 2016 to 2022 due to cybersecurity issues. So this is the total value stolen in crypto hacks and the number of hacks. As he says, we must focus on securing projects, not just creating them. And speaking of the Middle East, we have Crypto Oasis in the UAE. We can see the CEO of Casper Labs had a fireside chat with their co-founder exploring opening up a multi-trillion-dollar market, government and enterprise adoption of blockchain tech. So there's a variety of connections that Casper has to the MENA region, the Middle East and Northern African region. We know Casper Labs and Lead Ventures a while back partnered to accelerate blockchain adoption in the Middle East and Northern Africa. Casper Labs and SJM Group also partnered to promote Web3 adoption in the UAE. And also remember El Mascaria Holding, in tandem with Skybridge, investing into Casper and really helping promote throughout the Middle East. And they have a great relationship with governments. In that area of the world, it's a lot more progressive. It is a lot easier to align and actually work with governments for DLT applications, unlike the US. So in terms of milestones for Casper thus far, we know the WEF over at Davos, they announced the IPv deployment, so we're waiting on that launch. They announced a partnership with Google Cloud to integrate Casper Labs, and as we shared, Google is the one that approached them to list it. We also know Casper is available on AWS. Casper Labs joined the World Economic Forum's Global Innovators community and partnered with Robot Cash, the world's first blockchain-powered video game distribution resale platform. There's an awesome podcast on Spotify of Robot Cash and the CEO of Casper Labs discussing. And what are the future goals for Casper Labs? Broadly, we want to be the blockchain of record for the majority of the Fortune 500. And not financial advice. Once again, guys, I'm just a Casper holder. I'm not paid by Casper to talk about it. I have never seen a more legitimate project. I'm not impressed by price action yet, but I do have very high hopes for the future. And looking at funding rounds, looking at their actual run rate because they're being paid by enterprises today, Casper Labs is a company that will likely be here in 3, 5, and 10 years, which is really important for me. In the current environment, I do not want to gamble my life savings in microcaps. I want to look for legitimate plays that are likely going to be in the top 10, 20, and 50 in the coming years. There's a few other pieces of news I'll go over in another video because this one's getting kind of long. And if you're still watching this, huge thank you for sticking around. I hope this was helpful, and I'll catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you could hit the like button, let me know your thoughts down below, and my link tree is linked in the top of this YouTube video description, with all links, crypto resources, and discounts. I'll catch you in the next one.